Hello everyone, you're welcome to this week's Tech Tuesdays webinar on advanced scanners, architecture, installation, capabilities, and updates. I'm Vrinda, your host for today's session, and today we have with us Puneet Bharadwaj, Senior Principal from the Informatica Professional Services team. Before we start the session, let's go through some housekeeping tips. The webinar is for 1 hour that includes a 15 minutes Q&A. You can post your queries in the Q&A box. Dial-in participants are muted for the entire session, and the session is being recorded and will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success portal, where you'll also be able to download the slide deck. Please feel free to put in your feedbacks and suggestions for the session in the post-webinar survey. The Tech Tuesdays webinars are hosted within the Success portal, which is a micro-learning platform that offers free and unlimited learning to all registered users. This feature-rich platform was launched to help you learn and use Informatica products better. Here are a few important links that you can go over later that will help you in your product adoption journey with Informatica. Over to you, Puneet. Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Puneet Bhargava, and I'm a Senior Principal at Informatica. Today I'm here to speak on advanced scanners. And these will be the topics which I will be covering. What are advanced scanners? Why advanced scanners? Overall architecture with key components, advanced scanner installation and configuration requirements, advanced scanner capabilities with examples, advanced scanners new or future updates. And then we can open the floor for questions and answers. The first topic is, what are advanced scanners? Advanced scanners are scanners which can provide the automatic lineage from both static and dynamic code. When I say dynamic code, I mean the stored procedures which are highly parameterized, or the dynamic SQL which are generated at the runtime. Can also provide the lineage from the code embedded in ETL tools. For example, the embedded SQL or the stored procedure being called via Power Center or data stage. It can also provide the lineage from complex sources like SAS, SAP, BW, COBOL, and JCL. The next topic is why advanced scanning. As most of you know that EDC comes with out-of-the-box scanners to scan various file formats, database objects from various vendors, the cloud platforms, but the client environment is way more complex than that, where they have dynamic code, they have SAP, SAS, COBOL programs or JCL programs, and that's where advanced scanner plays an important role to provide that broad and complete lineage to the client. The next topic is the overall architecture. Advanced scanner is a Java-based application which has its own interface where the scanners can be configured, can be installed on both Linux and Windows, and of course on the same machine where the EDC agent is running. It can load metadata directly or the lineage directly in EDC using the built-in API automatically. It can be online, meaning in direct connection to EDC, or offline, where it creates the output file, the lineage output file, which can be loaded via different automated process. The next topic is advanced scanner key component. As you can see, there are 4 key components. One is the reader, common processor, writer, and internal repository. The reader reads the metadata of different technologies. The common processor, it takes that and process it and creates a lineage. The writer takes that lineage and using the custom resource, which is configured in the configuration, writes to EDC. The internal repository of advanced scanner has its own set of tables and views, which stores the scanning information. And today, there are only 3 vendors which are supported for internal repository: Oracle, IBM DB2, and Microsoft SQL Server. The next topic is advanced scanners installation and configuration. At a high level, these are the installation requirements. Can be installed on both Linux or Windows. Requires minimum 2 CPU core, 4 gigabyte of memory. But if the client is planning to scan a lot of metadata, the requirement goes up to 16 to 24 to 32 gigabyte, 5 gigabyte of disk space. And from internal repository perspective, it supports Oracle, IBM, and Microsoft SQL Server as of today. The advanced scanner scan capabilities. So the first one is a power center with stored procedure, where you have a power center code which is executing a stored procedure against the database. So while scanning power center code, it scans all the mappings, maplet, and workflows. And during that, it captures all the lineage of input files or tables which are being involved, all the calculation, all the business rules which are being implemented at a column level. And it also supports and provides the lineage of stored procedure which is being executed via Power Center. To do that, the MD repo needs to be configured to point to the database is being executed against. And once that is done, it goes into the metadata tables and get the stored procedure lineage. Next one is SAS. SAS scanner scans the SAS programs, and then it captures all the SAS data sets, calculation, and the transformation details which are being implemented at the column level. The SAS programs needs to be provided on the advanced scanner server. It cannot go directly to the SAS server and extract from there. So SAS has two types of codes. One is the static, one is macros, which are dynamic. So to scan dynamic, the scanner also requires the execution logs, and it takes the execution logs and builds the SAS program and then provide the lineage. Next one is SSAS and SSRS. SSAS and SSRS scanners, they provide end-to-end lineage from analytical sources to reports. Text stack cube definition from SSAS, and during that it captures SSAS project details, data sources, cubes, measure groups, hierarchies, calculations, etc. It also extracts report definition from SSRS. During that, it captures SSRS project details, data sets, reports, including the lineage at the column level. Next one is the data stage. There are certain requirements to scan data stage code. The first one is the data stage code needs to be exported as .isx files, and that can be done using the IS tool, which IBM provides. And then MD repo needs to be configured to point to all the databases the code is accessed. As you can see in the diagram, once the data stage resource is scanned, it provides the details. As you can see on the left side, there are two tables which are being used to create the third table. So it gives an indication there is some sort of join is happening. And if you go more in detail, if you click on that orange bubble, which gives you the transformation details, now it shows you there are join happening and there's a left outer join. What are the key columns being involved in the join? If you want to see the column level lineage, as you can see on the right hand side table, there are 3 columns, and it shows the lineage back to the left hand side, how they are being populated. They are direct move or they are derived columns, to a column level details. Advanced scanner has its own advanced capabilities, such as advanced visualization. As you can see here, the SQL statement is broken into individual transformation, which gives better readability, and easy to understand. And this link is different than what EDC provides. So this link is created as an HTML link, which is also provided in EDC. And if someone wants to see in detail what are the columns, what are the key columns in join, or what are the filter columns, you can double click on these boxes and it open all the column level details and tells you how the columns are being selected or moving from component to component. The other capability is the advanced logging capabilities. In this, as you can see, it gives you a preview of all the logs, shows all the information, yellow as warnings and red as errors. And on the right hand side, it breaks down which jobs are scanned with errors, which jobs are scanned with warnings, and which are successful. It gives you all that breakdown. And in the lower screen, it shows the analysis of the logs, what type of errors or issues were there while scanning, whether those were at the database level or the schema level or some miscellaneous issues. From a security point of view, Advanced Scanner supports both built-in and LDAP users authentication. Permissions can be granted to individual accounts or groups. There are system-level privileges for global roles. One is admin. It has permission to create, edit, and delete projects, allows to assign roles to projects to other groups or users, permissions to upload, edit, delete files on the Advanced Scanner server. The other is the repository viewer. Only allows to view the repository content, doesn't allow you to modify. Allows accessing built-in HTTP server. And project level privileges. So it provides 4 roles, which is viewer, operator, developer, and owner. As each one of them can be set using the orange button. So the viewer, it only allows read-only access. Operator, it allows to execute configuration and define email notification. Developer role allows to manage and execute configuration. Owner role allows full permission, including project level details. Now the next topic is the Advanced Scanner updates, meaning the updates which are released in the current Advanced Scanner or the future Advanced Scanner releases. Core update from security and usability improvement. There are a lot of library updates. For example, Java version has been updated to 8.0.322. There are multiple updates related with detective CVs. The H2 database, which comes as part of the package when Advanced Scanner is installed to use as internal repository, it has been updated to 2.1. Earlier it was 2.0. Comes with the Microsoft driver, which needs to be used, which is recommended to be used for internal repository. Some additional optimization of log handling. Now it is limited to upload certain file types. Automatic encrypting of sensitive global variables like username or passwords. If they are set up at global level or project level, those are automatically encrypted. The other updates are the objects are now marked with how many are finished with success, how many with warnings, how many with errors. The handling of column names ending with space with SQL Server as internal repository, those are being handled. Earlier it was throwing an error if there's a column header, if column header space at the end. Framing invisible character from project and blueprint name. So basically, when you create a configuration, you can export the project or configuration so it can be imported back again to save the time. But while exporting, it was having some invisible characters. Now those are being handled. Verification of duplication of code jar files. If there's some EVF is applied to advanced scanner, and if there's an updated jar file, it knows now how to detect the updated jar file. Don't need to delete or remove the older jar file. The major change in 10.5.2 is the product name is changing from Advanced Scanner to MetaDex. And when the job was running, it used to give the processing number. Now, instead of processing, it's changed to job. The default server memory changed from 2 GB to 4 GB. Now the execution report can be available as Excel file also. Now, as I was telling earlier, now it finishes with warnings, an error which is converted to finish. Earlier it used to finish with either errors or warnings, but now it finishes successfully, but gives you a report saying there are these many warnings or these many errors and these many finish with success. There, from catalogs point of view, there are some updates in the built-in models. There are some improvement, the logging messages. Earlier, while loading into EDC, it just used to save and did not end successfully. But now it tells, for example, to resolve this error, you need to see logs in catalog administrator tool. In ETL, so Salesforce was part of EDC scanner, but now that's being deprecated. So it's recommended to use advanced scanner Salesforce. The reason is it has the latest API which are used to authenticate when you log into Salesforce, and it provides two mechanisms to log in using the username password or the token. If there is no username password, token can be used like other cloud-based technologies, whether it's Power BI or Azure Data Factory or Databricks. And this is how, once the metadata is loaded into EDC, this is how the assets will look like. You can go inside those assets, and for example, you can look at the view and it lists all the columns of the views. And on the right hand side, as you see in the system attribute, it will show what query is there against that. ODI exporter, it was there, but in ODI reader, there was only one way earlier to scan the metadata using the file where you extract the code and put on the server where advanced scanner is installed. But now it can go directly against the ODI server and export the code and read from there. That option is the exporter, but the main requirement to do that is that ODI client needs to be installed on the advanced scanner server where advanced scanner is installed. So you can go and read the code directly from ODI. In IICS, one extra option is provided on the Informatica reader, which is called IICS filters list. Earlier, there was no filter to include or exclude the objects. Now, if the client don't want to scan all the objects, or they want to exclude from all the except certain objects, so they can provide the exclude filter. From Microsoft perspective, from SSIS, dynamic variables which are being passed from components to components are being handled. System variables or system parameters are being handled. package level parameters are being handled. The SSIS variables, which were used in SQL statements, the source components are being handled. And the major enhancement is the direct extraction of packages from SSIS-DB. In ADF, provides the support for datasets of type SFTP, supports stored procedures in lookup activity. In Power BI, it included the filter to scan your personal workspace, and you can exclude the objects which you don't want to. Support for character escaping and filter expression. The major one is earlier, when there was no filter, it was scanning all the workspaces and the API was timing out. Now there's a filter where it can be scanned using certain workspaces if all the workspaces are not required to scan. A disabled XML entity resolving in ADF XML. For language scanners, some hardening been done to certain scanners, like for example, ADF handles expressions well along with the Databricks evaluator. Databricks notebooks with some extra Python libraries are being handled. From database perspective, more syntaxes being handled, whether it's the analytical function or the Windows function, for example, for Athena, Hive, Oracle, Snowflake, or SQL Server. Parameter resolution has been improved in JCL, which are being passed from program to program inside the JCL. Similarly for COBOL. There are some improvements done on Power Query, ClickView, and set scanners. This is all for today. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on Advanced Scanner. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you once again.
Hello, everyone. If you have any questions regarding this session, please post them in the Q&A box. We'll try and answer them. Over to you, Puneet.
Yeah, hi, Wind, I am here.
Can we please address the questions that have come up in the Q&A box, Puneet?
Yes, I think I already replied those and all of them.
Sure.
So we can go through.
Scientific
We can go through the questions for all of them, probably, if you want.
Yes, that would do.
Then we can address that, right? So yeah, one of the question was, as you know, there was a Snowflake scanner which was part of EDC out of the box solution. So now that kind of deprecated in newer versions, and we recommend to use Advanced Scanner Snowflake scanner. So it's still free of cost as long as it is used to scan the database objects like tables, views, or materialized views. But it requires license when you want to scan stored procedures. So that was one of the questions. The other question was, can we use the same EDC database as an internal repository for Advanced Scanner? Yes, we can use that as long as they're supported by Advanced Scanner, meaning either it's Oracle or DB2 or MS SQL Server.
Thank you, Puneet. There is another question from Cindy.
Yes, I am just reading that right now. Sorry. I don't see much mention on business objects. I think I have to check the PAM. I think is it for advanced scanner or that's out of the box. I think for business object, we still use out of the box scanner from EDC, and we don't use advanced scanner for that actually. You know.
Thank you. We have another question.
Yep, we use stored we use stored procedure in SQL Server. Override in parts and an ED scanner is not able to resolve the source, so we are not able to. Yes, that's true. So if you are using EDC scanner to resolve that, and that's what I presented in my presentation, that to scan the stored procedure which are being called as part of Power Center or any other ETL tool, you need advanced scanner for that, and advanced scanner will be able to give you that lineage and stitch together the stored procedure lineage along with the lineage what you implemented in your Power Center mappings. So for that, the EDC scanner will not work. You know, you need to move on to the advanced scanner for Power Center. Yes, business object for reporting is out of the box, so that has to be used, which comes as part of EDC, basically, Cindy. So data services, ETL is advanced scanner. So it depends. Like, so for example, the Power Center ETL, if you are doing a pure mapping, all your business, you're doing pure ETL and your all business logic is in the components of Power Center mapping, then your out of the box solution, out of the box scanner should work. But if there are stored procedures which are being executed or some embedded or dynamic SQLs which are being executed to your ETL Power Center code, then you need to have advanced scanner for that to give you the end-to-end lineage. Cindy, I'm not clear on the data services. Like, can you give an example? Like, what do you mean by data services? Okay.
Yeah, let's wait
Yes.
for her to reply. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
got one.
SAP has an ETL. Yeah, those are part of your, they call it advanced scanner, but those are the old advanced scanners which were, so just to give you the history of the advanced scanner which I gave presentation, is basically these are the new advanced scanner which was being part of Informatica since July 2020 after some acquisition happened. But the SAP one is an advanced scanner, but that is more on the out-of-the-box advanced scanners. So unfortunately, those should work. What's the advanced scanner, what you have out of the box in EDC for your business object data services, you know, what was there before this acquisition for these advanced scanner, which I just presented, you know, even though they are called, and in one of the slides, that's why there was a mention that going forward, the name of these advanced scanner will be changed to MetaDeck, so that way there is no confusion. So So, what are the advanced scanner and MetaDeck? These advanced scanner came through acquisition. The other one out of the box, but were licensed, and they were called advanced scanners just because they provide extra scanning for SAP business objects and other SAP products. So that's a separate area, Vrinda, just to answer that, and Cindy, but it should be able to support that.
Thank you, Puneet. While we wait for more questions from your side, I just wanted to call out that this session is being recorded and it will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success Portal within 24 hours. From Success Portal, you should be able to download the slide deck as well. Also, right after the session, we have a post-webinar survey. Please go through that and let us know your thoughts on this session. And if you have any suggestions for future sessions, please let us know. Over to you, Puneet.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Cindy has more queries.
Yep, I'm answering her. So, Cindy, what we can do is we can send you more details around that, the data services for SAP business objects in an email. If you can provide your email, please.
We have another question, Puneet.
Can you show some example of how the file format is captured when using it to be more specific? How is the metadata captured? So basically what happens is when you capture the format of the file which are being used as part of your code, so you have to define under the host the format of that file, and when it scans and when it sees that file is being referenced inside the code, so it gives you the lineage. I don't have a specific code to show you right now, but it should be able to do that. You have to, like how in MD repo you define the connections for your databases. So under host, you have to define the file format, what files are being used with the list of the columns, and then it should be able to give you the lineage for that. India, I got your email address. I'll save it. So Cindy, I'll try to see if we have more documentation. Like sometimes within the team we have run books and all that. So I'll try to find that other than the portal documentation and shoot you over in an email.
Thanks, Puneet. Let's wait for one more minute before we can end the session. If you have any questions, everyone, please post them here in the Q&A box. Yeah, looks like we have answered all the questions, Puneet. If everyone, if we have failed to answer any of your queries, we'll get back to you through our support right after the session. And thanks everyone for joining. Once again, thank you, Puneet, for setting aside some time for this wonderful session. Thanks a lot. See you on our next Tech Tuesdays. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. And Cindy, we can have maybe later another demo where the Tech Tuesday where we have demo for some of the technologies like Databricks notebooks and all that,
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.